Ladies and gentlemen, it's profile time. And
it's sounding more and more like Michael Aspel every week.
Henrik Edward Larsson, MBE.
Oh, good.
Henrik Larsson. Yes, it is. He has just announced his retirement. Well, I say just announced.
Again?
I was going to say, yeah.
I know that it'll pop up in Brazilian football next week.
Yeah. Oh, stop it. All right. But Henrik Larsson, he was born on the 28th of September 1971. 4 years after the
Summer of Love.
He was a former Swedish international, and he's joined his first team, Högeborg, in Helsingborg, where he was born at the age of 6. By the time he was 15, he was asked to train with the seniors during the summer. Now, Högeborg are a lower league Swedish side. And you saw at the age of 15 he was training with the seniors during the summer, and then they moved him up to the senior team, and he played his first full game for them at 17 in the Swedish 3rd Division. And at that time he was doing a lot of other jobs. He was packing fruit in vegetables in a warehouse, supervising kids in a youth centre, and this was all while he was still at school.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's interesting,
He's got a work ethic.
Exactly, but at 17, people often think these superstars of the game, like Cristiano Ronaldo is a good example. At 17, they're professional contracts and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Not so the case here, So, he was there for a few years, and he played 74 league games for them and scored 23 goals. But he was 21, and he still hadn't broken through to one of the big sides. So this is kind of lower end semi-pro level. So he's thinking, I'm 21. It's just time's ticking away here. But Helsingborg, who slightly bigger side in Sweden, and they were in the Swedish 1st Division at the time, and they came in for him, and he signed for them. He was getting £300 a month without bonuses.
Oh, really?
Wow. So, yeah. But in his first season for them, he scored 34 goals. The team was promoted to the top division, the Swedish Premier League, for the first time in 22 years. And in his first season in the Swedish top flight, he scored 16 goals and was among the top scorers in Sweden. So he had 2 good years for Helsingborg. He's played about 52 league games for them and scored 48 goals, so a great scoring record.
Well, I hope he renegotiated his contract.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Getting paid 24 pence a goal.
But still effectively playing semi-pro level there.
Yeah.
In the Swedish sort of top flight. Maybe they became a pro club then. But all this, he got signed by Feyenoord. They came in for him, the big side, in September 93. He'd nearly joined Grasshoppers of Zurich, and they were finalising details, but as Henrik put it himself, with all due respect to Swiss football, there was only one decision there. He cost £295,000, and half that fee went to his first club as an agreement.
That's good.
Absolutely. But he didn't actually join Feyenoord until November of 93, because he wanted to make sure that Helsingborg was safe from relegation before he left.
Oh, nice.
And in his first season at Feyenoord, into the Dutch league now, he scored only 1 goal in about 16 games. So not the best of starts, but still, you've got to warm him up. But again, he's in his early 20s now.
Yeah, he was there for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah. So, his second season, he scored about 11 goals, so a bit of a better season. And in 1994, of course, he went to the World Cup finals in America with Sweden. Now, he'd hoped for his place in the starting lineup, but, by his own admission later on, he felt very tired come the tournament, and he'd lost touch a bit. The first game he was on the bench, because I'm sure we remember Henrik Larsson from more recent tournaments, but he was there in 94.
No, I remember his dreadlocks, so one of the standout memories for me, I must say.
Yeah, very true.
They were cool, tidy dreadlocks, weren't they? They weren't messy.
Yeah, they weren't messy.
Back when dreadlocks were sort of all round assumed to be a reasonably good idea.
It was like
that guy. Not the case now.
That guy and the guy from Rage Against the Machine had very
they did quite similar.
Yeah,
true.
Cool dudes.
Zach de la Rocha, I believe his name is.
Dudes indeed. In the first game he came on as a sub. Second game he started against Brazil. Didn't play too well though, he said. But in the third game he was on the bench against Russia, and he said it was such a hot day, it was quite nice to be on the bench because it was air conditioned. But eventually
that work ethic.
Yeah.
He has come from Sweden, to be fair.
Yeah, he'd earned that rest though, I feel.
Yeah.
Henrik Larsson, Thomas Ravelli and the boys were eventually knocked out by Brazil in the semi-finals, but they did finish third, and they beat Bulgaria in the third place playoff. And
they had a great tournament.
yeah, they did a fantastic tournament, and Larsson scored in that game. So in his first World Cup for Sweden, he's finished third.
That'd have been their best performance of the 50s, definitely.
Yeah, totally. So when after the World Cup, he was at Feyenoord, of course, and towards the end of his time at Feyenoord, he wasn't playing too well. The press were getting on his back a bit, and the new manager, who was there, because Wim Jansen took him to Feyenoord. The new manager was playing him out of position. He was on the left wing, he was on the right wing, he was in midfield. You know, he wasn't too happy there. He kind of said he wanted to move, and after a little bit of a legal dispute, he moved to Celtic Park when Wim Jansen moved there. And, of course, Wim Jansen, as I said, took him to Feyenoord. He's taken him to Celtic for £650,000.
He's got a hell of a lot of goals.
£650,000 in July 97. In his first season, Celtic won the league. They stopped Rangers to achieving the 10 in a row, and that was 97-98. In 98-99, he was voted Swedish Footballer of the Year, Players Player of the Year in Scotland, and Sports Writers Player of the Year. So, you know, a good time was had by him there.
Yeah.
The following season, during Celtic's 1-0 defeat in the UEFA Cup tie against Lyon, he suffered a career-threatening injury.
It was a horrific leg break, wasn't it?
Yeah. Very, very visceral, some might say.
Yeah, it was awful to see.
In the 99-2000 season, this week, breaking his leg in 2 places, and he was spent 8 months on the sidelines after that.
Well, it's a miracle he played again.
Yeah,
it's an awful, awful injury. It's a very, very reminiscent of the old Eduardo.
Well, I don't know. It's a bit different because Larsson was on his feet, wasn't he? And it's weird how it's almost like you just see the bone pop out the side of his leg. It looks like quite an innocuous challenge.
Did he wrapped his foot around the other guy's foot, didn't he? And his leg broke.
I thought he was just running, wasn't he? I thought he was just running, and it just sort of snapped. It sort of fell under it, like it just sort of snapped under itself. And it's weird when you do see a leg break like that. I've seen a wrestler do that once, and they sort of put their leg down to plant their foot, but their foot's not there because it's just a horrible thing that happened.
Sorry, it was awful anyway. I remember it.
Well, he managed to come back and return on the last day of that season, but John Barnes cited his injury as a big factor in why he was sacked by Celtic.
Seriously? Yeah. What, from Tranmere or Celtic?
That's right, yeah.
That's brilliant.